I'm Matt Whitbeck, a home builder and remodeler from Saratoga Springs, New York. Building smarter, better designed, and longer-lasting homes using proper techniques and building science is my passion. I'll be talking to pros around the country about issues that affect their daily work and how they overcome them. This is Building Science. Hey, we're out here in Nashville right now. Going to be meeting with Jacob. Jacob's a Skylight installation specialist. So we're going to see what he's doing to be able to help ventilate these tighter and tighter houses. He's found a really cool way to be able to use these skylights to help out with that. Not only to illuminate a space, which is traditionally what we think about how a skylight's going to work for us, but he's going to be able to ventilate. So as these houses get tighter, we get things like VOCs, carbon dioxide levels rising, humidity issues inside the house, and we're going to be able to use that skylight to be able to open up and ventilate all those issues out of the house. So when you think about high humidity levels in a place like Nashville, the houses are pretty sealed up and we're pretty closed up running those ACs an awful lot. So the houses get tight, running these mechanical systems, we want to make sure that we can ventilate properly, and he's found a way to be able to do that. Hey, Jacob.
How's it going?
Hey, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So tell us a little bit about this project you got going on.
Well, we got a homeowner that's got a garage with a bonus room up top, and they were looking for a way to bring a little extra sunlight and ventilation into the space.
How'd you get into this business, Jacob?
Well, basically my background was in roofing and leak detection. Obviously through that we came across a lot of skylights, and the advancements in technology with skylights was something we were real interested in. And from there, it was just kind of snowball effects where we found ourselves doing a lot of skylights. So it's something we do a lot.
So good roofing background, which is extremely important when you're going to install a skylight because you want to keep it dry. And that's one of the things that keeps a lot of people, I think, from putting a skylight in their house is the fear that there's going to be a leak that comes along with it. One of the things we really love about that when we think about indoor air quality, which is a really big deal, is these things will open up and actually vent out a lot of that toxic gas that's building up in the house. Do you find that's a big thing when you're really doing this pitch to the homeowners and talking to them about the benefits of something like this?
Most of the time, it starts with wanting natural light. And it's amazing once we get into the research and show them the statistics about the indoor air quality and just how much it can improve the air quality in the living space.
I mean, getting rid of CO2s, VOCs, any humidity and being able to open up like that is a really big deal. So when we have super tight houses now that are being insulated and put together with all these air wraps that kind of stop all the movement of air back and forth through the walls. So we've suppressed the house from doing that, and now we need to mechanically do it. And there's a great solution to that, also solar powered, right?
Yes, solar powered. So the solar power also qualifies for a 30% federal tax credit, which really helps out with the cost of the entire installation. So just another benefit aside from the fresh air in the summer.
Somebody can hire you, get a tax rebate to do this installation because it's got that solar advancement to it. So rather than just saying, hey, I'm gonna put a skylight in or something to bring some natural light in, making this upgrade to something that's a little bit better has the benefits, obviously, because it can vent, get rid of any kind of gas that's happening in the house, get some cross circulation, right? Moving air from one side to another. And obviously, heated air is gonna rise, so we gave it a place to escape, bringing any of that humidity out with it, bringing any gases out with it, and you get a tax rebate because it's powered by the sun.
It's a win-win all the way around.
Man, that's great. Let's go take a look at what you got going on.
Sure, Joe's in there getting us ready now.
Hey, got everything all double checked, and I'm gonna go downstairs and grab some of the gear.
Nice.
So it looks like we got a couple steps already set up here. Tell us about how we ended up here in the room.
Well, the homeowner wanted a skylight somewhere in this area, which is great, but the first thing we need to do is locate where the framing is. So we've had Joe go through and we located that we do have rafters on 16-inch center. We do need to make a rough opening bigger than the actual skylight hole. That's so we'll have room to go in and actually frame up anything structurally to accommodate the roof structure and the skylight box. From there, we can literally have a measurement of where our rough opening for the skylight will be and basically go to the roof to finish the final cutout.
So we really think about how the ventilation is going to work in this room, and I really love this space for that reason. We're right up above the stairwell, so we're going to get a lot of additional ventilation when we get stack effect. We're also far away from the other window, so if that window opens up again, good convective loop where we can draw air out of that and up to the high side, because we accept that expanded air, heated air wants to expand and it wants to move up and out. So we're giving it a place in the ceiling to be able to ventilate and move up. And as it does that, it's going to carry humidity, carbon dioxide out with it. So this is really a great location for that. You know, to borrow natural light to bring back down into the stairwell, we won't have to turn the lights on quite so much, and to get a great convective loop to bring that air up and out of here, getting rid of different things, off-gassing in the room, VOCs, carbon dioxide, all those things are going to work really great to be able to help ventilate this space.
And they look awesome as well, so that's going to be the icing on the cake, basically.
Yeah. You know, another thing I love about these is they're solar powered. You don't have to worry about hooking all sorts of different power sources up to them, and they're going to be able to harness and hook up with smart technology back to your phone, and you can kind of work with them that way to open and close them to kind of see what the humidity levels are like in the room. And that's all going to work out really great, I think, for the homeowner here to be able to monitor this space also.
Most definitely. And when you can't monitor from your home, they literally have rain sensors on the top that even help accommodate if there's moisture coming in, they can close for you, so it's not an open window.
And that's a really big deal someplace where we are like Nashville,
Yes.
where you guys are going to get thunderstorms that rip through a lot in the summertime, right?
Yeah, we get a lot of pop-up storms, and at the same time, you know, you'll be notified on your phone if you have the Velux active as far as when it opens and closes. All around great product, and it's just amazing how, aside from the looks, the benefits that it gives you as far as indoor air quality.
Yeah, that's something that's huge, and we really love finding things that work mechanically really well and are beautiful at the same time. And really, when you can put those two things together, I think you get the best of both worlds. So we got something that mechanically works great for the house, and then is beautiful, can offer all these different things. And outside here, what's great is, you know, you can't see through this like you can a lower window. So you get the privacy where somebody can't see through it. You get all the natural light benefits. You get to see the sky at night. I mean, what better than that?
That's correct, and actually the model we're installing has factory solar blinds as well, so you can actually close the blinds if you would want to black the light out.
And that's great too when we think about, you know, heating the room up. When we talk about ventilation, off-gassing, VOCs, anytime we add a lot of radiation to something, that VOC level is going to pick up. So when we can get the solar shade that comes down and stop a lot of that heat transfer via radiation, that's going to be beneficial also.
Yep.
Well, let's go grab some tools and help Joe get going on this project.
Let's do it. So first things first, we want to go ahead and try to pull this plastic back to catch any dust and debris that falls down while we're cutting out this drywall.
All right, a little floor protection down.
Looks good.
All right, so what are you going to use for tools to cut this hole open?
I would like to use a power tool because it would go a lot quicker. In this case, we're going to try to limit the amount of dust that we make. Sometimes taking a handsaw like this is a little more precision and a little easier at containing the dust in one spot.
Okay, so simple keyhole saw. Start with the razor blade to scribe, right?
That's it.
All right, I'll come behind you with the vacuum to keep that dust down.
Let's do it. And you can feel the heat immediately.
Oh yeah. What's our rough opening here gonna be?
So our rough opening, we're looking at 21 inches by 45 3/4 inches. That's gonna give us exactly what we need to set this skylight. We'll achieve that by cutting out this rafter here, adding in a header at both ends, bringing side members to basically close in and achieve the perfect measurements that we need. So.
That's great. So we're gonna have to close in a little bit from this size. We have cut the drywall out all the way out to these structural members, the rafters that clear span all the way through. And I think it's really important that we differentiate between a unit size and a rough opening size, where I see a lot of young carpenters, roofers, general contractors make that mistake and build out the size of their framing opening to the unit size rather than the rough opening. And that rough opening is going to be dictated by our manufacturer, and they're going to give us the tolerance we need based on whether it's a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/16. And we really want to follow that because that's their recommendation to install this correctly. Do you find that it's super important to follow those, and how does Velux do with those?
Well, that's one thing Velux is really great at, providing the rough opening measurements, basically all spec details that you need for each model Skylight. They know that, it's easier to install a Skylight in certain conditions, and they just provide you with the best information you need. So
I think that's important too when we look at the warranty from different companies, whether you're installing a door, a window, whatever it might be, to really follow specifically their directions for something like that.
Most definitely.
We got it.
So before we put this header in, we want to go ahead and fill back in any insulation here while we have access to the cabin.
I think that's really important to step to make sure that when we're putting a fibrous insulation and something that's friction fit, that we get it done where we can fit our hand in there to make sure that it makes full contact all the way around, rather than trying to shove something in after, and then we won't get that nice friction fit space taken up. So great. And then a 4 or 5 incher. So you see, while we're installing a joist hanger, we have 2 different nails that we like to use. One are these 1.5 inch hot dipped galvanized nails. These are spec'd out specifically for joist hangers, and you'll see a coating on the head of them to rate them, and this helps the inspectors and engineers know that the right nail was placed in. These will go into the flanges. Then against the joist itself, we like to use a larger nail. This allows for the perpendicular or opposing beam to be installed with a traditional fastening method, which is a toenail, as well as the saddle and the flange that comes out around here with the joist hanger nail itself. So we get a traditional fastener, a toenail, which is positioned and spaced properly by the manufacturer, and then these additional shorter nails that have great shear strength to them to help hold this up with the saddle itself. So that's a good reason why you don't want to over nail your joist or perpendicular beam before you put a hanger on. I see that happen a lot, is guys will nail these off with a nail gun or put too many screws in them, and the more fasteners we put in this doesn't necessarily make it stronger, it just splits the end grain of the wood. So we see that we ran the tape measure diagonal to make sure that the corners were all square with each other, and we've laid this out. So if we make sure that the measurements from location to location, we know that these 2 boards were cut at about the same length. The distance apart is the same, and then we check them diagonally, and that'll make sure that we have 4 square corners.
So now that we got our insulation and we have our rough opening framed up, it's time to shoot a screw in each corner. And this is going to help us when we go on top of the roof to locate our holes and actually chalk lines to cut out our decking here.
All right, so you're going to take a couple, what are these, about 3-inch screws?
3-inch screws.
And drive them up through the bottom side of the sheathing so that we have a location to spot on the top of the roof to chalk everything out.
That's it.
So we got our 4 screws popped up through the roof, and you see that Jacob's now removing the adhesive strip. So on the bottom side of the shingle, there's an adhesive strip built in that helps when the sun heats this shingle up, it bonds the shingle to hold it tight to the next overlap. So he's got to go through right now and kind of release that. He's also, as he's releasing that adhesive strip, he's pulling some of the nails in the head of the shingle up. Each one of these shingles, if installed properly, which they are, is going to have 2 plies of nails in them, one from the original shot of the shingle that goes through, and then the second nail that's the overlap that's going into the very head of the shingle below it. So the first step I see we're gonna go through is the ice and water shield, which they provide in the kit, in the flashing kit. Talk us through kind of the order of operations, you know, where you start, how you kind of layer this up.
Well, it's a 3-part system actually. So our first line of defense is the deck seal that's on the underneath of this flange here. That will follow with ice and water shield, starting with the bottom and the 2 sides and the rear. After that, we'll install our front flashing and step flashing, and that's basically our 3rd line of defense. So we've kind of got 3 lines of defense against any leaking moisture.
So I noticed that they put, you know, in big writing here, not to use silicone when you bed this in, because they've already put something underneath the flange for us. Then we're gonna start at the bottom, work our way up so that everything's overlapping, heading downhill, which should be really sealed properly at this point. It's part of the reason why we cut back to our underlayment, to make sure that we're gonna breach this properly, get overlapping correctly. Then we're gonna bring in that metal before the shingles go back on, and make sure, again, we start at the bottom, work our way up, and everything's overlapping, heading back downhill. So this is the solar panel, or you know, what we'd call a PV panel, that's gonna actually power this unit to be able to raise up and down. So this is pre-wired. You just kind of got a plug and play here. All the wiring's already set up back inside. When we go around to the other side, we'll be able to show you know, how this is communicating with the control on the other side that we discussed before with the remote, how this is going to kind of interface with the unit. But this is our power source right here. This is what gives this the electricity it needs to operate.
All right, so this is complete. We've got our solar panel hooked up. We've got all our flashing and shingles put back in. All that's left to do now is go on the inside and see how the blinds and the open and close function work.
That's great. Let's go take a look. So this looks great.
That's just about it. All we have left to do is have the drywall guys come in and the painters, and this will be 100% complete.
That's awesome. So we go through this whole process of installation, and it really starts with somebody wanting to kind of illuminate the stairwell a little bit more. And then your suggestion was to get this unit, which was going to illuminate the space, have a shade built in, solar powered, and will vent. Also can condition the space a little bit better by sensing higher CO2 levels, humidity levels, things like that. So now we're going to be able to off-gas this room a little bit. When we got humidity levels rising, VOCs get picked up, CO2 levels where we're sleeping, all those things are going to be able to be corrected. So the indoor air quality is going to be improved while you're getting the light. We get some ventilation and shading, all solar powered with a tax rebate. That's an awesome suggestion.
It's a complete package. And so once we've gotten to this point, you'll end up with 2 remotes. You'll have a remote for your blinds, and you'll have a remote for the skylight itself. This is actually the Velux Active system that includes all the sensors you need as far as the CO2, the temperature, the moisture. The beauty about the active system as well is you can control it from your smartphone. So you can control the blinds, the skylight, and the sensors all in one place.
And you can do it when you're out of the house even.
That's it. You'll get notification. You'll know if your skylight's open, if it's closed because it's raining. you can leave the house and you don't have to worry.
What a difference from the old skylights. I remember even the ones that opened up and you needed a hand crank and everything for them. I mean, you can put these things up so much higher now, not have to worry about the whole balancing act, and they're going to open and close on their own. I love them. I don't think we can find something much better than this when you have the add-ons for a situation like this, right?
That's it, the complete package.
This was great. Really awesome to see this product and work with you, Jacob. I mean, really cool seeing everything that you guys are doing here and putting together some awesome solutions for homeowners. Thanks for having me out and showing me what you guys do.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thanks for watching Building Science Nashville. For more on building science and in-depth how-tos, check out our other videos. This demonstration is intended for professionals only. Homeowners should not attempt these projects without first consulting a licensed professional.